I'm Leah, and I'm on my back porch again. It is Sunday, September 13th at 7:40 p.m., and I'm feeling much, much happier today than I was yesterday, fortunately. Um, it's been nice. The sky is beautiful. It's all washed out. You can't really see it like this, but trust me, it is. And this morning, I went out for breakfast because we were pretty much out of food in the apartment, and I met someone I'd never met before, and we had a nice conversation, which was cool. I should meet new people more often. She was very nice, and we talked a little bit about various things, jobs, plants. She was saying, oh, weather. Yeah, we talked about the weather a lot, and how we both felt really weird yesterday, and maybe one reason was all the rain and that it was overcast. And she says because she's a farmer, she's very sensitive to the earth and the changing of the seasons, which I think I can understand. I'm not sure if I'm sensitive to that specifically, although I do tend to feel much better in summer than in winter. But I am really sensitive to, like, pressure changes and storm fronts, especially electrical storms. But I can usually tell when one's coming, and I always feel awesome when there's lightning around, but just right before it rains or when it's raining but there's no storm happening quite yet, I tend to get kind of weird and antsy and neurotic and depressed. I'm not totally sure what's up with that, but it's definitely a thing. I think I tend to like to believe that a lot of mood is based in outlook or personality, and that it's possible to change one's mood through kind of the application of will. But a lot of it really is environmental, and not even just in the sense that, oh, you feel bad if bad things are happening to you, and you feel good if good things are happening to you. Things like weather, whether you're getting too little or too much social activity, climate, the foods you eat, and even in non-obvious ways, I think all of those really do have a profound impact on a person's feelings, whether they are aware of it or not, and whether they are trying to resist or change that at all or not. And that's kind of scary to think about, because obviously, although like a person's diet, you can in most cases probably kind of screw around with that, you've got no real control over the weather. So I think what that means is sometimes you just have to kind of cede to not feeling very well, and also accept that and consider it all right, which can be hard to do. And I think American culture right now doesn't. I think on one hand, we do have a culture that can be very against people accepting responsibility for themselves and their own behavior and their own feelings in certain ways. But on the other hand, I think we have a culture that doesn't like the idea that sometimes people just feel really fucked up for a lot of different reasons, and that's okay, and it's a part of life. It should be empathized with, and it's no fun to have a day like that, or a month like that, or a year like that, or whatever, but it's not always something that's inside of one's control, and just accepting it and trying to weather it gracefully instead of fighting it or ignoring it, I think, can be a virtue. But yeah, who asked me, right? Yeah, and Later, I was walking my roommate's dog, and I guess kind of my dog now, and all of a sudden, as we were headed down the sidewalk, I experienced this very vivid taste inside of my mouth of tomato sandwiches with mayonnaise. And it was wonderful. Like, I hadn't been eating those recently. I haven't actually eaten those since I was like 10 or 11 years old. But all of a sudden, this phantom taste just filled my mouth very vividly. And emotionally, too, I was kind of transported back to being about that age, like a preteen, but in a good way. I remembered what it was like to be that new in the world and, um, to have this great pleasure from eating these, like, sandwiches that were just, white bread, tomato, mayonnaise, while I was standing outside, and looking up at the sky, which was a different sky than this one, but not all that different. There were some similarities. And, I didn't know much yet. I hadn't had a lot of formative experiences yet. But I seemed to be that person for just a second or two outside, walking my roommate's dog. And it was nice. And then, so after that, I thought, well, maybe I could make a tomato sandwich for myself later, like for dinner, and eat it. There's nothing stopping me. But I thought about it a little bit more, and I realized that tomato and mayonnaise like that is actually sort of gross just by itself. And if I were to eat that sandwich again now, without like the magical nostalgia flashback, it wouldn't really be the same. It wouldn't be serendipitous, and it wouldn't be my memory. It would be my adult attempt to, futilely capture this feeling of being a kid, which, when I think about it some more, is good to remember, but maybe not so good to try and re-experience all over again. It's better to just let it live as a memory and not go backwards, but rather forwards. So, okay, I'm done. Bye.